Port Ron Slay with you.
Yes, we're in the building.
Vandy beat Tennessee last night. Did you see that?
A lot of people keep saying that.
I think I did.
A lot of people keep saying
We
that.
might have been at dinner watching on a phone.
A lot of people keep saying
You were ahead of me on your phone.
I'm going to go back and review a couple things to make sure that really happened.
He didn't get it off.
Yeah.
He didn't get it off.
Yeah.
I do believe the entire restaurant heard
Just
that.
wondering.
I saw the data. It was like 0.2. Speaking of data, Cynthia Frelund joins us now from the NFL Network. Cynthia, what's up?
How are you guys? It's great to be here.
We are good. How much do you enjoy Radio Row?
I love Radio Row. I really enjoy doing radio. I didn't grow up doing radio, so I always get really excited to do it.
I always talk to TV people like this one over here, Don Davenport. They like the ability to expound on ideas and thoughts.
Yes. You have more time in radio.
Rap.
Right.
Enough with the rapping. Okay, I'm just going to say 2 more sentences. We're going to be okay.
So
See, we can go as long as we want here.
Right, exactly.
we were just
Right, Hunk?
we were just talking about we come down here and then we end up not even really talking about the game all
Right?
that much, but
I
we
know.
will with you.
Yeah.
Eagles and Chiefs. What do you think about this matchup?
I think we got the right one. You know what I mean? Like the AFC this year was so strong, and the NFC felt not quite as strong.
Yeah.
But it feels like with the right, we got the good game against the Bengals for them to get here. It's just I feel like we got the it last year maybe it's not that it didn't. It just felt like okay, and then. Okay. It felt a little weird, I guess. So, and this year it's okay, but this is it. This is the one.
Well, we've got 2 great quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
So that's always an exciting
And
thing for
defense.
fans.
I mean, not defense. Whoosh. For the Eagles mostly.
78 sacks.
78 sacks, number 1 in total defense. But it's funny to hear the Chiefs players talk this week, especially the defensive Chiefs players. They talk about how nobody's talking about us, but we're pretty damn good too.
Yeah. I mean, look, the things that stand out for me about that defense, up front, they're very good. But they do get burnt. I mean, the way Spags plays defense, he did it since he was with the Giants, right? It's risk it, biscuit, right? So they're definitely going to bring the heat. And if it doesn't work out, then they could get gashed in a deep play. It just, it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's, I'm not saying anything, I'm not revealing any trade secrets here. And, it'll be interesting to see. Last game, you have to give a lot of credit to Trent McDuffie, their rookie corner, who lined up against Jamar Chase and pretty much held him in check. He held his own. So with L'Jarius Sneed going out the concussion, it's great that he's back. So you can see you always want to see the best players play, right? You want to see I want to see a good game. I did not like watching that Eagles and Niners game. It just that stunk, right? For football fans, it wasn't the playoffs we were promised, right? So
What, you didn't like a 4th string quarterback? What do you mean?
yeah, not being able to throw.
Right.
At all.
Yeah, that whole thing. Quarterback that can't throw.
Yeah.
But somehow won 8 games in a row or whatever it was.
Wild, but I mean, he was so hurt. So you're I just don't want to watch this. But at the end of the day,
That's right.
There was a lot. I mean, it kind of played out how we thought. The AFC just top to bottom was a stronger conference this season. NFC was not. Eagles, we knew they had a good schedule, a favorable schedule. They to me I had them going to the playoffs early in the season, ahead of the season, and winning the division and going to a much easier path. Right. So it's just interesting.
But I think sometimes that's how it falls. You got to take the breaks.
Care.
Exactly.
That'd be great if I have an easier life. Good for me. Yes, please.
Let me ask you this. You're looking at both teams. We talk about the quarterbacks all the time.
Yep.
Multitude of running backs on both sides of both teams. The linebackers kind of get left out in this a little bit. Is it anything that we should watch with Kansas City or Philadelphia?
So for Philadelphia, the area of the defense to target are the linebackers in coverage or the safeties. And I'm going to say sometimes C.J. Gardner-Johnson plays safety.
Yeah.
He's not included, excluding him.
Right.
But the other safeties and the linebackers in coverage are an area of vulnerability, and that's the Travis Kelce special area. And if you look to see, they have almost a 58% completion percentage allowed in that area. It's bottom 7 in the entire league in that specific area. So who knows that very well is going to be Andy Reid.
Yes.
So splitting out, and we even saw last game, we saw MVS have yards after the catch, which is not typically his game. That we didn't see that much in Green Bay. So So that could even be, so spreading out. You just need to have enough playmakers for them to be able to get the Travis Kelce, who's lining up all over the formation this season, not just where he typically lined up before. It's no Kelce, Hill, that's what we saw for so long. Now it's spreading the ball around to so many people and creating space, and Jerick McKinnon being so useful and picking up just like a little chip block, giving Patrick Mahomes just one extra half a second. Yeah. People also aren't talking enough about the fact that Patrick Mahomes threw the most touchdown passes on 10 or fewer air yard passes, short passes. Because when I close my eyes and I think of Patrick Mahomes, I think of horizontal pass with a sidearm, just
like a shortstop.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
But the
magician.
a magician, the magician Mahomes situation. But the reality is he's also doing the other stuff well too. He had the most the highest quarterback rating out of a clean pocket, which that was good. Most touchdown passes from a clean pocket, meaning his O-line did not do him dirty, right? We all talk about the Eagles O-line. The Chiefs O-line's pretty good too. They're not as good as the Eagles O-line,
right?
But it's pretty good too.
Young and growing, that offensive line.
Yep. You talk about the data and the 58% completion percentage here and this and that. How much are you seeing teams utilize that more?
So much
nowadays.
The best teams know who they are, meaning you don't need to sometimes people have this misconception that using analytics means you turn into a computer team. I am the coach. I am and that's not what it is. You have to know who you are, right? The Titans, their O-line was very banged up and the secondary was very banged up. So you had to create situations that you were optimizing for the things that weren't banged up, which was often the defensive front until they got banged up. Yeah. But the reality is you weren't trying to execute deep passing plays because the wide receivers weren't ready for that necessarily. So the truth is you know thyself and know thy staff, and then you can create the right sets of analytical inputs to help you make decisions that are more neutral. So what would Mike Vrabel call right now? It's a calm day. It's not 3rd and 7. You need to win this game. You're going to play. It's right now, because his calm brain. That's what you'd like to know, to have that input, so you can either accept it or reject it. You don't have to do it, but you just need a baseline, and then you can measure against the baseline, right? Everyone this year is Russell Wilson had a bad season. Got it. Well, if you had to grade that bad season on a scale of 1 to 10, is it a 2 or is it a 6? Because for Russell Wilson, a 6 is a bad season, but a 2 is a really bad season. So the reality is you need to know what the magnitude is in order to make decisions. And because football is a game of inches, but it truly is 1 or 2 stops here and there makes a massive difference. That you have to measure what the actual line is, so you can over it or under it, right? You can't just, because we all kind of know, right? We know Patrick Mahomes can throw on the run. Got it, right? And we know that Jalen Hurts can throw on the run. Got it. Well, who's actually better at it? Yeah. And Jerick McKinnon on the field is good at chipping, and Miles Sanders isn't. But how much marginally different are they? It's not as much as you may think, but a half a second here or there is massive. Yeah. Massive.
Yeah. And which guy can have success on a drive 3 times and which guy is 2 times, because that might indicate punt. Right. So stops are important. Cynthia Frelund with the NFL Network talking about data and analytics. And it's interesting because football forever was a world where coaches coach from the gut. I just know this situation. I feel that William Perry's going to score a touchdown in 1985. But now more and more guys are going to what you just described, I think, beautifully, in that a 3rd and 7, I do this without even really thinking about it. Because I've already thought about it.
Yep. And the other thing that's interesting is, the game's evolving. Our supply comes from college. The college game is vastly different than the pro game. So you have to say, how is it evolving and changing? There's way more passing now than there even was 10 years ago, right? And there's way more, the safety position. And, used to be, you used to call a star cornerback, or he's playing slot corner. That used to be he's old and washed. Now it's you need a nasty slot corner because you've got these tight ends coming in every direction and they're monsters, and you have to have a good, it's not pejorative anymore. It's now that's a key position, right? So at the end of and now you saw the Bills play this season with they don't, did they ever only have 4? I think over 90% of the time they had at least 5 defensive backs on the field. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Nobody's playing base. Who's playing base defense anymore?
I remember when it flipped 10
College
years ago, where you started to hear teams that were not in base more than 50% of the time, and I was what?
Then is it base then?
Right.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. Nickel is base.
Yeah.
Right. So the reality is you have all these different. So what you're doing is now you're trying to say, okay, And the Eagles are a really good example. They rotate their defensive front, right? So that rotation and that depth helps them stay fresh longer. It's a fact, right? So the reality is we all know we need to take a certain amount of reps together to be good, but we all know that there's a balance between being good and getting tired, and being good and getting tired. So how do you navigate that? And also health. They're getting so much more sophisticated with health and safety, but even just let's say safety aside, let's talk about your regimens off season, how much practice, load bearing, all of those different things where you're tracking all of these things that all come together, so that on game day, fourth quarter, when you're on the goal line against the Bills, then you can make something happen. Maybe Josh Allen made something happen, but there was some help there.
The Titans need to know that health part. I think is key.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Brutal.
Somebody needs to send
It's
some
been
numbers
brutal.
away.
How did you get in the analytics world?
Right. I was working in finance, and I was I got my MBA. I thought I was real hot stuff. Getting
I'm on
an
my
MBA.
way. Yeah.
I'm on my way. And then I did my summer internship at the league office, and we were working on season inventory restructuring, which is a 16 and 4, 17 and 3. What's best for our product? Our product being the game. How many can we stay competitive longer? How many games should be in the playoff, et cetera, et cetera. So when I was doing that, I worked with the competition committee, and I fell in love with these coaches who just have so much love for the sport, explaining it. So we'd watch film and we'd talk about the evolution of rules and all these, and they love it so much. And you're in a dark room, you eat snacks, there's lots of swearing. It's it's right up my alley. It's right up my alley.
Like a Radio Green Room.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's incredible. And you get to, and I learned that if I asked, people would tell me the answer.
Yeah.
What is the safety doing there? Oh, Cynthia, that's a false leverage. What in the heck is a false leverage? Why?
Yeah.
And I just liked it.
Yep.
So maybe I thought I'd get into cap, but then this Moneyball thing happened, and that movie came out, and people how can we Moneyball for football? And they've been doing it forever, by the way. The movie maybe renamed some things, but quality control, Ernie Adams for Bill Belichick pretends he doesn't like analytics, but that guy's been doing analytics the whole time. So it's just a different name. It's just a different name for the same thing.
Cynthia Frelund at C Frelund. Check her out on Twitter. Thank you, Cynthia. It's good to catch up with you.
I'm so glad. I love
Thank
seeing
you
you
so
guys.
much.
But I'm just happy we're back in person.
Yes.
This is it.
Yes.
This
Love
is
it.
So great.
Can I ask you one quick question?
Anything.
Analytics.
Yeah.
I want to know, you talk about Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Nathaniel Hackett said, if we can get to the 47-yard line or something like that, we're going to kick a field goal. But it was third down. And then he let the clock run out. Is that analytics for him, or is that a baseline that he has?
I think that might have been like a mind, like a glitch in the Matrix.
Thank you. Okay, I'm good with it. That's it. That's all I needed. I need some kind of sense out of it.
I'm going to be honest, though. He probably did only need field goals because their defense was so nasty. They were losing games, only allowing 9 points. That's ridiculous.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
So the reality is maybe what he was trying to say is we can win this thing with no touchdowns because maybe he should have rephrased it we've got a really good defense, period.
Yeah.
We don't need our offense to be scoring all the touchdowns, period.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah, that's it. Leave it alone.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Cynthia Frelund for HL 104.5 The Zone.